Attention all passengers. Flight 002, Barbie as Rapunzel, is now boarding. Once on board, please fasten your seatbelts and prepare for takeoff. Thank you for choosing Destination Nostalgia, and please enjoy your flight.
Hello everyone, this is your captain speaking. I just have a few disclaimers before we begin our journey today. First off, we will be experiencing some audio turbulence today. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues while recording. You may hear sections where the audio sounds different than how it sounded previously, or areas where myself and our guest audio is overlapping. I do hope that you are still able to enjoy the episode in spite of some rough audio, because we had so much fun making this episode for you, and I hope that that still comes through and we can have a good time. Speaking of having fun while recording, I had a little bit too much fun while recording, and in some sections I forgot to explain very important details of the plot. So to continue the chaos that this episode has become, I will be jumping in a couple of times to add context in places that I forgot to. And finally, I want to give a content warning for this and the following episode, which will be out in a couple weeks. This is a children's movie. However, parental abuse is a key point in the plot, and we will be discussing it quite a bit. If parental abuse is not a topic that is safe for you to engage with, please do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. We will be happy to have you back in episode 4 when we move on to something different. Everybody, please take care and enjoy the flight. Welcome aboard all passengers. This is Destination Nostalgia, where we travel through pieces of media to see if they are as good as we remember. I am your pilot, Jordan McKenna, and today our co-pilot is my wonderful friend, Libby.
Do I say hello?
You can say hello.
Okay, hello.
You can say whatever you want. Make a political statement, whatever you want.
Okay, good to know.
So today we are embarking on an extended journey as we talk about Barbie Rapunzel. Today's episode we'll be talking about the Barbie Rapunzel movie, and our next episode we're going to explore the Barbie Rapunzel computer game and kind of do a bit of a compare-contrast situation with that. As we get into this, Libby, do you have a flight-related pun to send us off?
A flight-related pun?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know I was supposed to have that.
No. It's okay. Ellie last time, she just like whips it out. She's like, put on your seatbelts. Maybe I should just let the guests do it. But no, it's okay if you don't have it. We can just.
I don't have a flight-related pun.
Perfect.
Part 1, Background.
So just like our last episode, we are going to be starting with our best guess at the official description of the movie. So Libby, would you like to go first with your description?
I would like to go with my description first. Okay. Starring Barbie as Rapunzel, this colorful film features a young lady with long hair and a passion for painting. Though she dreams of far-off beaches and distant horizons, Rapunzel has never seen outside the 4 walls of her castle prison. One day, Rapunzel discovers a secret passage that leads to an idyllic village and, more importantly, to a hot dude with dreamy eyebrows. With the help of a magical paintbrush and her trusty animal sidekicks, can Rapunzel overcome years of childhood trauma while healing a divided country?
Who knows? That was beautiful. I love that you used the word idyllic. That was some beautiful writing. I did not go nearly that beautiful. So I wrote from my childhood memory of this movie. So I only ever watched this movie when I was at your house. So I think it literally was once or twice. So my childhood memory of this movie is pretty brutal. And I'll say it. As we go through this, I'm going to end up eating most of my words that I say in this initial description. Okay. Just because for whatever reason, I thought this movie was something completely different. So I was very pleasantly surprised as I watched it as an adult. I was like, this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But here we go with my harsh 7-year-old memory. Rapunzel, a terminally shy girl. Already wrong. Is trapped in a tower by some lady named Gothel. With the help of the world's most annoying sidekicks, Rapunzel discovers she has the courage to create the life she wants. Also, there's a magic paintbrush. So here is the official description of the Barbie movie. A big thank you to the Barbie Movies fandom wiki for providing us with the real deal. Long, long ago, in a time of magic and dragons, there lived a girl named Rapunzel who had the most beautiful, radiant hair the world had ever seen. But Rapunzel's life was far from wonderful. She lived as a servant of Gothel, a jealous, scheming witch who kept her hidden deep in a forbidden forest, guarded by the enormous dragon Hugo and surrounded by an enchanted glass wall. However, in a twist of fate, Rapunzel's discovery of a magic paintbrush leads her on a journey that will unravel a web of deception, bring peace to two feuding kingdoms, and ultimately lead her to love with the handsome Prince Stefan. She succeeds with the help of Penelope, the least intimidating of dragons. Barbie as Rapunzel shows that love and imagination can change the world.
Okay.
Very, very sweet. And here's just some background facts on Barbie as Rapunzel. So Barbie as Rapunzel was released to video and DVD in October 2002.
Oh my god, I guessed correctly. Okay.
Yeah, it is very 2002.
It
is very Yep.
Okay.
It's interesting. I can I know it when I see it with 2002 stuff. Yeah. It had a television premiere on Nickelodeon in November of 2002. It is the second film in the Barbie cinematic universe. Barbie as Rapunzel was nominated for 8 DVD premiere awards and won 2 for Best Original Score and Best Animated Character Performance for Gothel, which I heavily agree to both of those things.
What is a DVD release award?
A DVD premiere award? You've never heard of that?
Is that an Oscar?
Yeah, it might as well be. No, something really fun about this time period of like direct release DVDs and VHSs and also computer games, as we learned with Putt Putt, is there's sure is a lot of different awards out there that you never have heard about. So there you go.
Part 2, Memories.
I think my first guess at a description showed that I really did not like this movie as a kid. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I only saw it once or twice at the house. As a child Jordan definitely was annoyed by Rapunzel, and I thought that she was too shy and she wasn't standing up quick enough. Watching this again as an adult, it really comes off like there is a very high concept, high drama plot that is not usually there with most Barbie movies, so it does not surprise me that it went over my head in just like 1 or 2 watches. But I am excited how far off I was, because that is part of why I wanted to do this podcast, is I had a completely different experience watching it as an adult. All my opinions on the characters were completely different, and I was overall very impressed with the movie and the message that it said, and it is a lot more complex than I remember.
For me, this was kind of like an emotional viewing because, you had sisters who were close to your age or a sister who's close to your age, but I feel like as a kid, I always would sort things into like categories of like, this is Becky's thing, this is my thing, this is Hannah's thing. And like Rapunzel was my thing. But it was always, I felt like, oh, well, this one's mine, so I have to defend it. Like that was kind of how I always felt about it.
And you did a great job. I mean, when I watched this, I was like, Libby was right. Damn, she was right.
Yeah.
This was really good.
Like, I always felt like this is my movie, so it's like it has to be the best one, even though like in my heart I knew it wasn't the best one.
I disagree.
I don't know.
It's totally changed my opinion of the ranking for sure.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's not like I feel like I also remembered the least about it. So watching it, like I honestly totally forgot about the paintbrush. Like, honestly, like, did not remember that factor. Like, I remembered that she was into art. And I know the story basically of Rapunzel, but I remembered, like, the different characters, I guess, but I did not remember the plot almost at all.
I mean, to be fair, and we talked about this a little bit earlier before recording, like, this is probably one of the most complex. There's 3 different plots going on at once.
Right.
Which I think kind of affects the pacing a little bit, but it also, I think, you leave with a stronger message, especially as an adult viewing it.
The other reason it was kind of an emotional movie was for me is I do think it touched on some of my like biggest fears as a kid.
I definitely think as an adult, when you have more of an understanding of like manipulation and abuse, like Gothel's character hit so much harder, and I think quite honestly she's the most terrifying villain.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Some of the things she said, like you could probably pick that out of a narcissistic parent dialogue. So whoever wrote for her knew what they were doing.
Right.
It was so good.
And I remember as a kid being upset watching this movie, like feeling really bad for Rapunzel and being like feeling bad for Penelope and just like I remember it being kind of upsetting and I would get really sad when I watched it. And I feel like now as an adult I can kind of put together of like why that makes me sad or like that this more specifics like sad things versus just like I feel sad when I watch this or I feel bad for Rapunzel.
Yeah, and I think partially why I thought it was boring as a child is like there's not really a fantastical big bad.
Right.
It's just Gothel being horrendous and it's like the interrelational dynamics that are so terrifying. So it was easy to be like, oh, well, there's not much action in this movie. This isn't very interesting. But again, as an adult, I totally was like, how did I think Rapunzel was shy? Like she's totally like is her own person. She's doing such brave things and standing up for her friends and putting herself in danger. Also, this woman like could easily, they can't say kill in this movie, which is really funny. So they say destroy.
Yeah, right. Right.
I kind of, near the end of the movie, I like, it kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh, she could have easily just killed them for standing up to her. Like, that's really terrifying.
Yeah.
They can't really push that too hard because it's a kid's movie. But whereas, like, I think in other Barbie movies, like, there are fantastical big bads and monsters and stuff that are chasing you or whatever. So it's a little bit easier, a little bit more cartoonish.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think like the true chilling nature of Gothel is something that really hit me as an adult where I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Part 3, Deep Dive.
So the early Barbie movies follow a bit of a theme where Kelly, Barbie's little sister, is experiencing some sort of trouble and Barbie is going to tell her a story to teach her a lesson about the issue she's having. So
Can I make a comment here?
Please make a comment.
So I wrote down, the good old days of Barbie teaching Kelly a lesson and leaving 6-year-old me really wondering if she was Rapunzel / Clara / Odette the whole time. Because I was always confused. And I never quite understood that, like, wait, but that's Barbie telling. I knew, like, oh, Barbie's telling a story, but they always make you wonder a little bit. Like, there'll be, like, a little twinkle in her eye or, like, somehow,
and
like...
the fact that she looks exactly like the character.
Yeah, that. Or I'll be like, oh, well, somehow she, like, still has the same painting or, you know, something like that I'm always just was like, wait, but is it really her?
The setting for the storytelling that the girls are living in, so Barbie in this universe, it owns a paint studio. So the opening sequence shows a lot of like really, it's like sweeping motions over art supplies that have people's names on it. And it's just really creative and fun. I wrote that this is probably the most unique opening sequence I've seen in a really long time. Quote, there are just no good arts and crafts themes opening sequences anymore. The one that I really freaked out about is like, there's like a twirly corkscrew of like a pencil shaving. It looks like kind of like a corkscrew roller coaster.
Yeah.
Camera just pushes through it. There's a particular shot of the camera where it goes into a pencil sharpener.
Yes. I did like the pencil sharpener part.
Yeah, and so I wrote, show me a name at a pencil sharpener anywhere else for real. So I just thought the whole thing was really, really charming.
I really enjoyed that as well. See, I enjoyed this intro as someone who's been playing a lot of Super Mario Galaxy recently.
So twisty.
That's what I felt like. And also like, or Super Mario Party where you're like have the pencil lead and like everything is like miniature. Yeah, that is what it reminded me of like being miniature in a big world. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like some Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, but just a super, already off the gate, super charming. And again, as somebody who does not watch children's stuff as much as I used to, it was just a sweet, it made my heart happy. Our first award is the Unique Opening Sequence Award, and I think it is very deserved. So Barbie as Rapunzel gets a very unique opening sequence award. And thank God, because we really need to bring that back.
Yeah.
I'm bored with the current opening sequences.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention?
Tell me.
So I didn't really do awards, but instead of doing awards, I did create a drinking game for myself.
Oh, this is excellent. This is great.
So I will...
You know what this is? This is an award for you.
I'll say them now.
Okay.
Every time that Barbie knows more about the outside world than she should.
Oh, I love that.
Based on like how sheltered she should be.
Good call.
Like she's painting a beach, but how does she know what a beach looks like? She's never seen a beach. Does she watch TV? I don't think so.
Maybe she just created the concept of a beach. And then when she goes for the first time, she's like, oh my God.
Oh I was right.
I'm a
Like,
genius.
does she just have like a brilliant imagination, or like she probably has read books, but also like how does she know how to read? Did Gothel teach her?
She doesn't have the patience.
That's like based on Gothel's character. I'm like, it's not like she homeschooled Barbie, but Barbie does know how to read.
Yeah.
So I had some questions with that. Another reason I had to drink, which happened a lot, was sexual tension between Barbie and the prince. All the time, all the little comments. Like I wrote that waist grab though, like when they first meet.
Don't get me started on the waist grab. I hate it for many different
I
reasons.
hate it too for many different reasons. One of them I did was an abusive parental figure, but like that kind of happens throughout the whole movie, so that didn't really work out.
I wrote down the lines to like create like a narc parent playbook, but that felt a little bit too depressing for an award, but we could go there.
Yeah. And then I also did one that was brings out painful childhood emotions.
Yeah, that's just you.
Which is just me, but I was drinking a lot because of that.
Well, speaking of painful childhood emotions, I will say this opening scene got me as an adult way more, because Kelly literally is asking Barbie, how do you create something? As a child, I really thought Kelly was annoying, but she is truly out here asking the real questions about the creative process that I am just now asking in my late 20s.
Yeah,
so
right.
like, Kelly was really...
But how do you know what to create?
Yeah. So I have a quote for myself on the quote, Kelly is really grasping the true terror of artistic expression and freedom.
Yes.
She is. So I'm going to do a quick, I literally was typing it because I felt very attacked. Sorry. Before we do that. So this is something from the Putt Putt episode, the last episode with Ellie. So on the Putt Putt wiki, there was this section of like trivia and goofs. And some of the writers on the wikis just take things very seriously, which I love.
Yeah,
So
I do. Yep.
I included the ones that I think are very funny. And again, this isn't to make fun of the individuals who are dedicated to the wiki. It is to appreciate and to laugh with, because I love the passion that is here.
Yeah.
So the fun fact in this scene that this person had to offer us is this is the only film where Kelly doesn't have bangs.
Oh.
Which...
Wow.
Yeah, pause the crisis.
She doesn't have bangs.
I loved that. I laughed so hard when I read that. Okay, so this is me feeling very attacked right now. This is the dialogue between Kelly and Barbie. So she goes, but what if I don't have any good ideas? You have wonderful ideas. Your ideas. Can't you just tell me what to paint?
Oh.
I wrote, you live long enough to see yourself become Kelly. Oh, no.
See, I have been trying to explain this because this happens, this is how I feel choreographing dance.
It's hard to create. 5 minutes into this thing, and I'm going to give the Painfully Relatable Creative Crisis Award to Kelly, because I wasn't expecting to be attacked on a Friday night when I watched this. So Barbie, the first smart thing she does is she stops the spiral. Things were getting a little too existential.
Yeah, but what if I hate it?
She does a hard pivot and she's like, I'm gonna tell you a story. We're just gonna pause this spiral.
Here's a parable for you.
Yes. But she does it in kind of a threatening way. She goes, you remind me of a girl whose painting saved her life.
And here Kelly is like, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, you could save your own life.
So then we go over to Barbie's beautiful seascape and we blue skidoo right into that painting. And we get a very lovely monologue from Barbie as she is telling the story. And I'm going to give you that monologue as well.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, long, long ago, in a time of castles, kings, and magic, there was a secret manor hidden in a deep, dark forest. The woods were whispered to be full of monsters and dragons. And if you were to go into the forest, you couldn't see the manor. Why not? Asked Kelly. It was concealed behind a magic wall, which kept intruders out, and more importantly, kept a young girl hidden inside. We go into the tower and we meet the gang. We meet our girl Rapunzel, who is painting the same painting as Barbie.
Yeah, where'd she get that beach?
Libby's conspiracy. We have our first connection. What's going on? Oh yeah, and also, how does she know what a beach is?
How does she know what a beach is? Yeah, for one. And also, like, that just really got me confused as a kid. Like, but that's Barbie. Like, I don't know.
She looks the same.
I couldn't separate it for some reason. I don't know.
And seated next to Barbie is a cockney rabbit named Hobie. And behind them is our purple dragon, Penelope. And she is the most supportive girl in the world. And Penelope did not deserve all of the hate I gave her as a 7-year-old. I think I get the skeevies a little bit. I get a little bit unnerved around these two. Hobie and Penelope is like they have really uncanny human elements. So Hobie has very blue human eyes and just awful feet. Like he's kind of got these flesh toned feet that look like human feet on a rabbit.
Yeah,
so I think that's kind of.
And he even talks about them at one time, like take my lucky foot or something.
It's like they're awful. They're the worst thing I've
ever seen. Stop making me look at him.
Don't make me look at it. So I think maybe childhood me was like something's not right about this, and then. I found out that Penelope, and it was literally while I was taking a screenshot, so I wasn't like intentionally trying to notice this. She has human teeth. Penelope has veneers. Like, where are her fangs? And it just doesn't look right. So I think there are some like they tried to anthropomorphize these characters a little bit, and it comes off as kind of creepy. So then they're more annoying stuff. I have less patience for because they are unsettling.
I'm gonna bring up one more reason why I kind of was bothered by these two, and it's back to my like emotional response. And one of the things that about this movie, like, you know, Rapunzel's trying to like get away with painting, like she just wants to paint, but Gothel doesn't want her to paint. And these two just like kept almost ruining her secret, and it just like really set me on edge. Like, it made me so anxious and, like, nervous that, like, no, you're going to give her away. You're going to give her away.
No, totally. So, yeah, these two are not necessarily the dream team. So then we get, wow, we should add this to the drinking game. Gothel alert.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. So since Hobie has those, like, rabbity rabbit ears, he can hear whenever Gothel is coming. Gothel is the mistress of the castle at this point, or the manor. At this point, we don't know who she is, except that she's scary.
Yeah, she's on her way.
You need an alert for her, which is like, if I have one goal in life, is for people to not have an alert for me.
Yeah.
That's like a base goal. Once Hobie sends the Gothel alert, the gang scurries to put away all of her art supplies. In the meantime, we get an incredible entrance from Gothel. So she's riding in the dark forest on a horse. We see a shot of her hand, and it's a finger gun. Pew, pew, and some green magic comes out of it. A quote from myself, quote, I love a finger gun spell. And we see this green magic fly out, and it tears a hole in the wall that we didn't see before, and we see the manor. It's pretty crazy. So we see only a shadow as Gothel is walking up the stairs. We see her full form, and then we just see her head on the door, and then we see her hand. It's very, very creepy. Oh yeah, I wrote, we don't see Gothel's face, but it's very effective in making her feel scary.
Yes.
So I gave her an award. She gets the best entrance award. Goes to Miss Gothel, because we all wish we could make an entrance like that. I also wrote about Miss Gothel. All you need to know about her is she is gaslight, she is gatekeep, she is girl boss. Rapunzel greets her with a milady. So I kept count of the miladies because they are frequent.
I'm pretty sure that did factor in a lot to my imaginative play as a child, though.
Milady. Another thing about this exchange, so Gothel's basically, she notices that Rapunzel has some paint on her cheek, and she basically dresses her down for having a hobby. And a lot of the dialogue that they use is it seems pretty accurate to what people with narcissistic parents say. Like, it seems like she's taken, whoever wrote her took the playbook and just like copy pasted a lot of lines. One that stuck out to me is, I've taken care of you since you were a baby, and this is how you repay me. Just the guilt. And then I just wrote, with the hobby, Gothel?
This conversation was also like almost hard for me to watch. And again, it shouldn't have been. I don't have a narcissistic parent, but I think when I was little, I was very affected by this.
Yeah.
And
scary.
Yeah, and so watching it is still hard. And again, knowing now that it's this narcissism and the gaslighting. One of the lines that stood out to me was, it's your job to know.
Yeah, I wrote that too. Yeah.
Because it was like when Rapunzel like hadn't done one of the tasks. Yeah. And Gothel's listing all the things that Rapunzel, well, did you do this? Did you do this? And Rapunzel's like, yep, I did all those things. Well, did you do this final thing? And Rapunzel said, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. And Gothel said, well, it's your job to know. Yeah. And that got me. Yeah. Like that feeling of you're just like trying so hard to like please, and you're trying to like do something right, and then you still like get talked down to, that was, I don't know.
And it's also
very frustrating.
Like a narc tactic of like finding something. Like
yes.
If you even meet my expectations, I'm gonna move the goalpost. I'm gonna find something else that's wrong.
Yeah.
Which is like, ooh, already in our first couple minutes with her, it's like she's checking the boxes.
Yeah. Totally.
And this is a little less important, but the milady count is now up to 3 after this very traumatic dialogue that these two have together.
Yeah, I even wrote, the paint under the eye really stressed me out.
Oh, yeah. So I gave the Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Award to Gothel because nobody is gaslighting as hard as her, nor girl bossing as hard as her.
Hello again. This is your captain speaking. There is an important part of Gothel's entrance and her general ensemble that I forgot to properly introduce. Like most Barbie villains, Gothel has a evil animal sidekick. She has a weasel named Otto that she wears around her neck like a shawl, which I gotta give it to her. Excellent design choice. Unfortunately, Otto has some characteristics which Libby and I have some opinions on. In this next clip I'm going to play for you to introduce him. You will probably see what we mean.
Oh, and bring me a snack. Ooh, your little friend will do.
Oh, the fucking ferret. I hate that guy.
Yeah, I have a specific award for him that's going to come up a little bit later.
Okay.
But the first comment I made with his first entrance is, Weasel is too horny. Yikes.
So that's the end of the scary conversation.
Yeah.
So now that Gothel is away, it is time to make her tea. And we have a very klutzy tea time. Penelope knocks over the tray of tea and it flies in the air and it's very comedic. Also to note, I wrote that like on the tea tray, there's just 3 cookies and a lemon. Like a whole lemon. that was really funny. Like, my favorite. A whole lemon.
I have a coworker who eats lemons whole, so maybe Gothel is one of those.
Wow. A different breed. But even though it was a klutzy mistake, Penelope turns out to be the secret hero. The spoon from the tea tray flies onto the nose of the gargoyle and reveals a secret passageway, which I love. I love that
was a very satisfying moment.
Such a specific thing to happen to make that work.
Yeah, and then the spoon balancing on the nose, like, I don't know why it just felt good.
It's fate.
Mm-hmm.
It's fate. Mm-hmm. So Rapunzel wants to explore. Hobie reminds her, what about Gothel's tea? Rapunzel tells him,
we still have a few minutes. Come on, something great could be down here.
And I made a note that Rapunzel has way more courage and curiosity than I ever gave credit for as a child. Also,
That's true.
Hobie jumping down the stairs looks so uncanny and unnatural. He looks like a stuffed chicken hopping down the stairs, and I didn't like it at all. I was not a fan. So the secret passageway leads to a secret room. It is full of... what is it? A bunch of old crap.
Yeah.
There's a chest full of tons of old invitations to Gothel for different celebrations and balls. And also we find a portrait of Gothel with a mysterious man with a face slashed through. So I decided to...
Hold on.
What?
I didn't realize that was his face slashed through. For some reason, I thought he was just wearing like a really big straw hat. Like I thought it was like it's a giant. Until you literally just said that, I was looking at this picture on the PowerPoint thinking, that's just his big old hat.
Can you imagine like a 17th century portrait painter and some guy comes up with a big hat that blocks his face and the guy's like, yeah, you can keep that on.
Yeah. Take a portrait of me with my giant straw.
Keep that on. Oh my god.
Literally, and I know as a child that's what I thought too.
I'm gonna die.
Wow,
That's
it makes so
funny.
much more sense that like, yes, it's like a knife to canvas. Woo!
Oh my god. Thank god the siren came so we can have a break. Oh, it's so fucking funny. Okay. So considering all of the anger that went into this, not the straw hats, but slashing something with a knife, I decided to call this the divorce den.
Yeah.
And I am very pro divorce den. I think that is a very healthy way to get your anger out. But I am a little bit anti scorned woman trope that is starting to pop up a little bit. That Gothel is this way because she obviously had a romantic relationship that did not end well, rather than like perhaps she is just a horrible person and chooses to be that way. So yeah. I really do like the characterization of Gothel for the most part, but they lean a little bit too hard into the scorned woman.
And I don't like the narrative of like, oh, if you a regular nice lady can turn into a horrible witch if
she doesn't have a man.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. So pro divorce den, be angry. Don't push the narrative that women be angry if they don't have man.
Yeah.
So despite all of Gothel's angry memorabilia, Rapunzel also finds something very lovely. In an old box, she finds a silver hairbrush that has her name on it and also has a lovely message inscripted. Is that the word?
Yep.
Inscripted on it. Thank you. So it says, "Constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved. To our daughter Rapunzel on her first birthday, with love forever, mother and father."
You gotta sing it though.
Oh gosh. As the stars above, always know that you are loved. To our daughter Rapunzel on her first birthday, with love forever, mother and father.
And okay. Moving on, Rapunzel has a quote here that threw me off because she goes, "Mother and father, but Gothel said that I was abandoned, blah, blah, blah." And then she goes, "Why would Gothel lie to me?" It's like, girl, you're wondering why Gothel would lie to you?
I don't know. I thought that was kind of sweet and kind of sad. Like it felt kind of very realistic to, again, if we're talking about like representation of trauma, like that initial cognitive dissonance where it's like, somebody lied to me and you like can't quite believe it. Yeah. So I thought that was, for me, like as an adult watching, I was like, that felt pretty true. And I felt bad for her where I was like, oh, like she's taking, like she has to take that initial first moment of disbelief before she starts putting the pieces together.
Yeah, and that's true. I guess like she's never, as far as we know, made much of an attempt to escape, like she's always just like kind of,
she thought this was her life.
Done. Yeah, she's just gone along with what she thinks her life is and what she knows.
And if Gothel said she's so terrible all the time, it must be true because there's nobody else in her life. And I also, like, it broke my heart when she repeats under her breath, "with love forever." It's like, oh, honey. Oh, honey. I also wrote, this has quickly become a kidnapping situation.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, so this is pretty sad. So this is Rapunzel's first kind of shattering that perhaps her life is not quite what she thinks it is. There might be something for her outside of this little manna. So very conveniently and well-timed, Gothel screeches out, "Where is her tea?" And we get another milady from Rapunzel, and she brings the tea in. And basically the only point of this scene is to let the viewer know that Gothel is going to be sleeping until dinner. So that gives us plenty of time to get up to some hijinks. This is also the time where I get more upset with the weasel.
Oh, time. My mistress is ready for her beauty nap. Step to it, girl.
What is the accent? What are they trying to do with the characterization of this weasel? He's sitting at the vanity. This feels kind of queer-coded, and he moans too much.
Yeah.
And the milady count is up to 5 by the end of this scene as well. I also decided to give out the Moaning Weasel Award. And I think this will be a reoccurring award in this podcast. So it will be awarded to a children's character that makes too many sexual noises for it to be an accident.
Yeah.
Named after this weasel. So now that Gothel is asleep and we have some time for some hijinks, the gang goes back into the divorce den. Oh, I wrote, Rapunzel is confused about Gothel's lies, and Penelope breaks a hole in the floor. Rapunzel decides to jump right in, which is very good for her, and she discovers a tunnel. Rapunzel has some doubts, but realizes she has never been outside the magic wall, and this might be her opportunity. A direct quote from Miss Rapunzel.
"I've never been outside the magic wall. This is my chance. Maybe my only chance. I'm going."
And I went, wow, I really misjudged her.
Yeah, you thought she was shy.
She's not shy.
I mean, maybe that realizing Gothel's a liar, maybe that's kind of part of the inciting moment where she's like, maybe there is someone out there who loves me, you know?
Rapunzel gets to the above world. Thank God. She goes into the village next to a castle. I noticed that she has dressed a lot better than everybody else. So I think that Gothel is noble.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty clear. I also, so this is very small, but
The buns guy.
she walks past a baker and I had to count the amount of bread he had because it seemed just ludicrous. This man is trying to sell 34 loaves of bread. The confidence of this man. And then Rapunzel walks by and she doesn't want to buy his bread and he just like has this crushing rejection face. And it's like, dude, maybe make like 10 loaves? I don't think you need 34. 34? What is this, a Wednesday? Crazy.
My reaction to this was just, the buns guy.
Back at the castle,
Oh, no.
we have some family drama between Penelope and her dad dragon. We meet Dad Dragon. Dad Dragon does not approve of Penelope's friends. He says, quote, "Don't tell me you've been playing all day. I don't know, Dad, like a child." He is also purple like Penelope, but he's a little bit more haggard. So I described him as Boomer Spyro. And I think that that is quite accurate. He demands that Penelope show him her skills, her dragon skills, like breathing fire and flying above the magic wall. But Penelope is afraid of heights. Oh no. Oh no. So she tries her very, very best, but she is not able to fly over the magic wall. And another heartbreaking quote about parent trauma. Hobie asks her, does he ever smile? And she goes, not around me.
Yeah.
And I was just crying over that.
This was a moment where I had to drink because it made me feel emotional childhood fears. And the fear of like disappointing your parents. I feel like as a kid, this really like made me sad of like, I don't know, she couldn't do it. She was too scared.
But meanwhile, as an adult, you're like, this is his problem and he's taking it out on her. Like, Dad, get your shit together.
Yeah,
this has nothing to do about
definitely.
you, nothing to do about Penelope. He's just projecting.
Right,
So,
right.
The description of this scene from the wiki also made me really smile because it's like just a little too matter of fact. It kind of takes the emotional damage Penelope's going through and just makes it a little technical. And I thought it was really endearing. So I'm going to read it out loud to you. Meanwhile, Penelope's father is here to see how her fire and flying is coming along, but it's not going too well. Penelope wants to impress her father, especially since he has never smiled at her.
This sentence reminds me of like... It reminds me of like a line from like a fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like this is how fan fiction sounds.
This is fan. You're right. You're
It's just like Penelope wants to impress her father, especially since he has never smiled at her.
It is all tell, no show. Oh my God. So yeah, that made me smile.
Oh, imagine the Barbie Rapunzel fan fiction.
Oh my God, we might have to do that.
We might have to do a deeper dive.
That might have to be a bonus episode. I love that. Oh my God. Okay. Now we're on to the
here we go.
we're on to the scene that broke my goddamn brain. Okay, so during Penelope's family trauma, Rapunzel is frolicking through an orchard and she finds 3 girls just trotting along on a horse. I have a lot of feelings about this horse and these girls.
Yeah.
So first of all, this horse has just a grimace on his face the whole time. He does not look appealing. He looks very angry. Also, he has the black eyes of an actual animal. None of this uncanny valley human animal shit. Also, why can't he talk?
It looks like a photograph of an eye just like pasted over the drawing of a horse.
Why can't he talk like the other animals? What are the rules in this universe? I found it very disturbing. Why can't, like, maybe that's why the horse is grimacing, because he can't talk. He's crying out in pain.
Yes, that's a terrifying notion.
So this horse haunted me. Like, everything in this scene, the way it was animated, and like, I feel like what is going on here is that this is probably one of the lowest budgeted animated scenes because it's not that important. It's just how the two of them meet. So it's like the girls are wearing crazy ass things. The horse looks weird and it all just like doesn't quite fit. And my brain wants to scream. So let's talk about these children's outfits. So my main comment, so there are 3 girls And I wrote, what in the spirit Halloween are these outfits? Because what the hell is going on here?
Same exact thought. Like, are they, I literally had the thought of like, are they dressing up? Like, are they playing dress up?
These children?
Because one of them's dressed like a bride or like a Greek goddess.
One is very much wearing a wedding dress. The other one has this massive bow. And this is going to be such a niche reference that probably only you will know and no listeners will know. I had a shirt with a bow like that. Like a big fucking bow.
Yeah.
And it was black and red. And it was like something that was in style that it would have been like 2010 to like 2013. I wore that shirt so much. So anyway, like seeing that like massive bow on her shirt, I just like had a flashback and it was not a good one. I was like, ew, I hate that bow.
Yeah.
This is personal. And then the redhead, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
She is like wearing rags. She's wearing like zigzaggedy cut blue and green dress.
Looks like scales.
Looks like scales. It's like very clearly costumey. So hers was one where I had to write, where did she get this? Why is she dressed like she went to Spirit Halloween?
It does generally make like, are they supposed to have been like playing something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You will never know.
Anyway, the blonde child with the big bow on her dress that triggers me falls into a hole and she makes the best sound. And I felt really bad that I laughed, but it was genuinely very funny. Oh no. But luckily Rapunzel is there and she reaches down and is able to grab the little girl's hand. But oh no, she trips. Is she going to fall in the hole? Oh no. Some massive hands that are the exact size of her fucking entire waist grab her and pull her back. And it makes me feel things and I don't like it. It fills me with body dysphoria, and I don't like it. Body dysmorphia.
I wrote that too. His hands fit all the way around her waist. Oh no.
Yeah, it's always like, there's some toxic beauty standards going on here. This is not good.
Hi, me again. For the last time, I promise. So for this section, our creepy little meet cute with Rapunzel and the mystery man, it is very essential to the plot that she does not know his name or the fact that he is the prince. So what do? I just can't stop saying his real name and his title when describing this scene. Thankfully, Libby came up with a fake name for the mystery man, and it gave me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to use one of my favorite sound bites in the world to replace every time I say the wrong name. So you will be hearing that shortly. Okay, bye for real this time.
Also, my thought right here was, why do I feel like his name is Derek? We don't learn his name until later, but I do refer to him as Derek from here on out.
Derek.
I wrote some dialogue for him. I'm just here to save my little sister. Sorry, I grabbed your waist.
Gross, I hate it.
And Derek. It also says, have we met before? And I wrote, since I grabbed you like I knew you.
Yeah, like I put my whole hands around your whole waist.
Gross. He's just out here grabbing people in orchards. Disgusting. But through the dialogue with Derek, we learn about that there is another kingdom and a king called Wilhelm, and there is a feud between the kingdom that they are currently in. And I wrote that this is a pretty good narrative trick of the entire movie, is that we are learning things about the world as Rapunzel is. So we don't really know anything else outside of when Rapunzel is discovering it, which I think is pretty cool and keeps us in the same mindset as her. Even though, as Libby pointed out, she knows things that she probably shouldn't know as well, like what beaches are. Oh, I also wrote, I can't say his name yet. Mystery Man is mansplaining war to Rapunzel. Because he's like, you wouldn't understand. There's a reason why there's a feud. And Rapunzel just calls him on that shit. And she goes, that seems foolish. And he goes, oh, you think so?
She thinks the kings can just talk it out. This is the real world, lady. That's what I wrote.
I love that. So you agree?
No, I don't agree. But I think that's just Derek's point.
Yeah, like, that is Derek's point.
this is the real world. Like, you don't understand, woman.
You're just from underground. You're just from underground. What do you know?
You don't understand the man's business.
So
Derek
runs to check on the girls who may or may not be his little sisters, and Rapunzel wisely runs away from this mansplaining mystery man. But we see that the horny weasel had followed her, and the little rat saw it all. So now we're back for round 2 of Gaslight, Gatekeep, Girl Boss. 2 Gaslight, 2 Gatekeep, 2 Girl Boss. So the little horny weasel goes to Gothel and tells her everything.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "What's his name?" "I don't fucking know," says the weasel. "I'm not into human men." Apparently. Meanwhile, Rapunzel is just over the moon. She's telling her friends that she met the most handsome man in the world. And it's like, okay, lady.
And then Hobie literally says, "And how many men have you seen?"
I loved him for that. Hobie's keeping her in check. Yeah, that was a moment where...
Because that was like a drinking moment of like, Rapunzel shouldn't even know what a man looks like.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, what are you?
Yeah.
Are you like me?
Yeah, it's like a person.
Yeah. Gothel crashes the party. This is where things kind of turn up to 10 with the narcissistic parent dialogue. Yeah. This is pretty brutal. She goes, "Did we have a nice little trip today?" And I wrote, excellent line. I really like her lines. And Rapunzel is kind of playing coy, and she goes,
"After all I've done, after all I've given you, this is how you repay me?"
Oof.
Yeah.
That hurts. That hurts. And Rapunzel very rightly and bravely claps back. She goes, "Why didn't you tell me about the village?" And then Gothel goes, "I did it for you, to protect you from the evil out there," which is so gross. Again, she's following the playbook. And then she goes, "I heard you met someone special. Who was he?" And Rapunzel very rightfully says, "I don't know his name."
Liar!
Getting accused of lying when you're not lying, that is to this day one of my greatest fears. Yeah, that really struck a chord with me too.
Yeah, so she's truly filling out the gaslight requirement of all of this.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty gross. So, and then another classic narc parent move, since Rapunzel can't give her what she wants, which is info, very transactional. She decides that she's going to destroy all of Rapunzel's art, which this just broke me. I hate, this is a trope that I hate, is like watching people's handiwork get destroyed. I hate that. So we have another creative crisis on our hands, and this one's much more sad.
Yeah, that really was very sad to me too.
Yeah, I wrote, "I hate destroying people's art for the sake of plot."
Yeah, I hate that too.
And if that wasn't bad enough, classic, Gothel takes it one step further. So she's punished Rapunzel, but now she needs to control her again since she lost her control. And then this is where we incorporate the tower aspect of the Rapunzel story, which I really liked how they did this. It was very creative and new. So she creates Rapunzel's bedroom into a tall, isolated tower to keep her from sneaking out again. And she gives her this final line.
"Enjoy your time alone. I'm sure it will refresh your memory."
Yucky. Ugh, gross. Oh, and then another thing that is important to the plot is she sicks Penelope's dad on Rapunzel to be her 24/7 watchdog, basically. So Penelope's dad is now involved in the evil as well. So we take a break from all the trauma to do some boring informational scenes. So we go back to the castle and we see Mystery Man, or
Derek
walk into the castle garden, and there's a little boy who's shooting things with an arrow, and he has this like very this conversation with him where he's like very clearly idealizing his brother, and this is supposed to be like very quick character development for this man. Yeah. So we learn his name. We learn that his name is Stefan, and his brother is like, "You're such a great brother." So we can quickly learn that this creepy man is not a bad guy. So then Stefan, who we now know his name, goes to talk to his dad. We don't know Dad's name yet, so I call him King Daddy. So King Daddy really wants to thank the maiden that saved the little girl. But Stefan and the guards, we learned, couldn't find her. So King Daddy decides that she must be a spy for the evil King Wilhelm. So Stefan asks King Daddy, "When will the feud end?" And King Daddy says, "You're stupid and you don't know adult things." He didn't really say that, but he kind of brushes him off. Stefan kind of walks outside, I don't know, annoyed. And the little girls come up to him and they say, when will you see the lady with the pretty hair again? Oh, and this is when I first realized that Katrina had a 2011 bow on her dress. And Stefan's like, I don't know. I hope soon. And that's it. So we learned some information in that quick little scene. Back in the tower, it's nighttime. I wrote, Rapunzel is in her full depression era.
Yeah.
She has her braids out of her hair. Her hair is fully on the floor, draping out the window.
I did right. She sleeps with her hair on the ground. That bothered me a little bit. It's like the dirty floor. You keep your hair on that?
I suppose maybe that's the only way to keep it not tangled. Is she drapes it out the window and lays it meticulously on the floor, and she's like, it's better than if I toss and turn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But she hears a call from her window, and it is Stefan, and he's calling out for her to let down her hair. Also, there's a scene of Stefan just starting to climb up the hair, and I just wrote, there's no cute way to climb hair. It's really awkward. His butt's kind of flopping around in the shot along with the hair, and it's not cute. Stefan comes up to the tower and they start to talk, and suddenly it becomes a nightmare. Oh. Gothel's giant face arrives and starts laughing at them. And then in a very metaphorical move, she grabs Rapunzel and holds her away from Stefan and is under her complete control. Ooh. And then she wakes up.
Here I posed the question, and I mean, some of this will be answered, but I posed the question, why did Gothel kidnap her? Because she doesn't even have magic hair.
I also wrote that too. Yeah.
I just was starting to wonder, I'm what's the point? Did you just want a servant?
Yeah. I also thought it was really interesting. I wrote this note a little bit earlier, but didn't find a good way to fit it in. But we kind of learned that Rapunzel's long hair is her own choice. That's just a fashion choice. It's kind of odd. Yeah.
It's funny to me a little bit in this rendition how her hair is almost not relevant.
No, it's not.
To the plot. A little bit in this dream, first of all, is the only time you really see that scene of Rapunzel, let down your hair.
I thought that was a really sweet callback to the it's a way to incorporate the original fairy tale into it and to give that its due. But then they chose to do a way cooler story instead.
It's really almost not all about her hair at all. It's just kind of a coincidence.
What's unique about her is her skills and her character, and that's really cool.
Attention all passengers. Due to time constraints, this flight will be making an emergency landing. All passengers must exit the aircraft. We apologize for the inconvenience, and we'll see you next time for part 2.